we did it.
All right, Roy, I can see.
So, yes,
Nice.
thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Stuart, for being with me on Nourish to Flourish. It's really a pleasure because, as you know, in March, we're focusing in the group on movement. And yeah. I hesitate to say exercise because so many of us have limiting beliefs about what we can't do, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. But I firmly believe that our bodies beg us for movement.
Yeah.
And you have a very special story. So I'd love for you to just introduce yourself with a little bit of background about what you used to do, you know, say 5 years ago, your experience with health issues and sickness, and then rebuilding back into movement again.
Yeah, perfect. So where do I start, actually? Well, firstly, just thank you for being invited onto the Facebook Live. It's really exciting to be here. So my story. So I don't think my story is, well, my special is, I spoke a couple of weeks ago, actually, to my company, for a group of 30 people, and you know, my story is special to me, but it's not special, you know, it's just a story, but it's very special and personal to me. So I have been a soccer coach. Some people may call it a football coach. In the UK, we call it a football coach. Yeah. From when my son was 5, so he is now 28, so 23 years. So I just had to do a bit of maths there. So just started off like a usual dad, you know, rocking up to some coaching sessions and watching him, and then getting involved. And although I've taken a couple of season breaks or year breaks from that, you know, if you added it all up, I've probably done about 18 years worth of soccer coaching.
Wow.
Both at the what I would call very grassroots level. So
yes, schools.
Taking kids of very mixed ability, U5, U6, U7, all the way through to U18, so under 18, who were in UK terms, they were kids, young men who had either been released from professional club academies or, can you still hear me, Beth?
Yes, I can still hear you. Yes.
You can? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. My enter's playing up. Okay.
No, it's my phone connecting.
Okay.
My headset connecting to my phone as well.
Okay.
So the guys either coming down from professional academies or local league players who were still looking up to potentially being to going into, you know, making a career out of playing soccer. Yeah. And that gave me great enjoyment from doing that.
Yes.
And I was going pretty well at that, and then suddenly, just over 2 years ago now, I experienced what I always call a health burp, where I had a blood clot in just here, actually, where my hand is. In the subclavian vein. It's still not fixed. It will probably never be fixed, although I've done some work with Andrea Hendren. Do you know Andrea?
I know Andrea very, very well. I mean, she and I do a lot of shenanigans together. Yes.
Yeah. So she's been talking to me about, you know, the power of the mind, and I'm holding my hand over it and thinking good thoughts. Anyway, so that really, to be frank with you, Beth, that rocked my world. It completely pulled my core identity out from underneath me. It took my body, my physical body, about 18 months to recover, to the point where I was able to then go back to work in a part-time basis, and I'm now back to work kind of full-time. But you know, some people, when they have a blood clot, will be back at work within 2 to 3 weeks. Other people, like me, 18 months. Other people, to be really blunt about it, they die.
Right. Exactly.
You know, so I'm in the middle. mine wasn't fatal and it wasn't as good as other people's. But the return from that that health spurt was, it's been a long journey. And actually in the last 6 months, I've seen a great deal of my pendulum has swung. My pendulum has swung from here to here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you actually introduced it. It's gone from crikey, my body's, in the first few months, hey, my body's broken. That's how I was. And now it's, what can I do?
Exactly. What am I celebrating that I'm doing? Okay, there's still stuff I can't do, but I'm celebrating what I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And my body is probably at about 80 to 90% of where it was pre blood clot. So
that's amazing. Because when you and I did our first coaching session last year, I'm trying to remember when that was. It was September, October time, probably. But there have been, I actually wrote some blog articles about it, and there are four that take you through the journey from, hey, I think I've got a problem here, let's go and get it checked out, all the way through diagnosis, to a point where a few months ago, I decided I wasn't going to have an operation. I was offered an operation to sort it, but the risks were too great for me. And I'm kind of, and at the point where I decided I wasn't going to have the operation, it was like a release. Exactly, because once you've made that choice and you're certain about why you've chosen not to.
I was like, am I going to do it? Am I not? Am I going to do it? Am I not? Am I going to do it? Am I not? And it was just burning cycles, burning.
Right.
And then I said to my wife, right, I'm done. I've decided I'm not going to do it. And it was immediate, but it was like within a few days, a week, 2 weeks, the release happened. I did some stuff with Andrea. I did some stuff with Karen Richards. I don't know whether Karen comes on around vision journaling, and everything aligned at the same time. And maybe I might talk about that as well.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely want to talk about that. So, as you know, in Nourish, we're really focusing, this is not about, let's all get fit, but it is about, let's all be healthy. And, we do focus on what are you eating? We definitely focus on that intuitive feeling into your body, which, you're doing a whole lot of recognizing how much more can I push it versus how little do I push it? When do I pull back a bit? When do I say, oh, wait, that might be a little too much? And definitely, just feeling into what we're really doing in terms of how it is, I know for me, a diagnosis of celiac used to be death, not death sentence, but, the doctor laughed because when he told me it, the first response I had was, you mean no beer? And he's like, well, most people start with no bread or no pasta. I was like, oh, yes, no bread and no pasta, But it was very much of, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Whereas now I'm looking at it going, this was a blessing because it made me choose a new lifestyle.
Ditto, same here.
Difficult. Don't wish this on anybody. But I am choosing to really listen to my body now. How does food feel when I eat it? And do I really want to feel like this after a meal? The same with exercise. How does exercise?
You're not eating gluten now?
No. And I'm not eating corn either because I started really identifying which foods just don't sit well in me after eating them. If it's not sitting well, why do I continue to put myself through that? If I end up with a foggy brain for 3 days, what is that telling me? Okay.
Absolutely.
If I feel gassy for 2 days or 3 days after a certain food, that's not necessarily something that my body is really doing well with.
Yeah.
Is it preparation or is it the food itself? You know, and you know, there's those questions, and you start looking at, well, how am I preparing this? And is that the right way to prepare this?
Yeah.
But more so, it's very much of, well, if I love my body, you know, this carries me around. This is the one this is the one I've got.
Yeah.
And I do the same with exercise. You know, for me, you know, I was talking to Nina last week, and I said, you know, when I was playing soccer, I did not consider going for a run twice a week to be exercise. That was simply training.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, and she's like, that's exercise. I was like, no. That was part of playing soccer.
Yeah. Just keeping your fitness levels up, getting your aerobic.
Exactly. But you didn't, you know, it was the whole mindset of how do you view it? How do you look at it?
Yeah.
So as you look at your recovery, as you look at that mindset work that I know you've been doing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What would, you know, how do you want to go about sharing that with us?
Crikey. So I could probably take a couple of hours actually. But we haven't got a couple of hours, so we won't take that. We won't take a couple of hours. I have got a couple of slides that I prepared.
Perfect.
Let's see how that goes, Beth.
Okay.
Let's give it a whirl. Am I going to do this? Yeah. Are you able to see that, Beth?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. And if I go into presentation mode, let's see, do you see that as well?
I can see that. That's perfect. Yes.
Okay. So I think I have about 4 or 5 slides that I don't want to be too elaborate about it. I literally threw them together. So I may go back onto that previous slide that I just clicked over, but these two are just pictures that I selected at random. The one on the left-hand side is quite special to me. It's less than half a mile down the road to my left-hand side. I can remember a few days, weeks after I came home. I was never in hospital overnight, but I was pretty debilitated, of walking to my local coffee shop, which is 0.65 miles, because I have it on my Fitbit. And it's a journey that would normally take 5-10 minutes, and you know, that journey took me half an hour. And I passed these allotments, which is where we grow. I don't know if you have them in.
Yes, well, we don't have them here in Panama, but I do know allotments in the UK, which I think is fabulous. That, you know, it's basically a community garden, and each person gets their allotment if you sign up for it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So potentially an activity that I may take up in future when I've given work. But it's a beautiful place to walk past, and actually I walk through it now from the woods that you can see at the back.
Okay. Yes.
And it's just a great chill out place to go, but it's a very special place for me because it signifies to me kind of recovery, because that was the first instance of walking by there when I was first recovering. I had significant pain in my chest as I was doing it. We walked at 0.05 miles an hour, really slow. Whereas now, I mean, literally really slow. You know, now my walking pace is 4.5 miles an hour, which is faster than brisk.
Exactly. Yes, that is a very brisk. Exactly. That's almost at a slow jog. Well, it is probably faster. I was going to say it probably is a slow jog. Yeah.
And the one on the right hand side is again special to me because that's probably about a mile away from where I am now. But the picture doesn't look really maybe as clear as it was on that day. But it was the first time, because I wasn't at work and I was walking, I'd never actually seen the bold at the bottom there. I'd never really seen spring before. You know, I'd experienced spring for 50 odd years of my life, but I never really experienced it to the point where the trees in the background there were just coming out into leaf bud.
Yeah.
You could still see the branches, you could still see the twigs.
But you could see the buds.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Even though it's like 200 or 300 yards away. And I'd never seen that before. So although, it was a health burp, the health burp has given me lots of good things as a result. For me, so that's another special place, and I think I've got 2 more pictures actually, 3 more pictures actually.
Okay, yes, awesome.
Top left is because of my soccer coaching, I was extremely active, took exercise regularly. First few months after my DVT, very, very little, but actually I got in touch with nature. The thing about the leaves, and I'm now into touching trees, particularly old, crusty bark trees. They're my thing.
Absolutely, yes.
Which I'd never done before. I thought people who touched trees.
Oh, the tree huggers. They're a little bit crazy, aren't they?
They're mad as a box of frogs, as we would say in the UK. But I'm one of them now. It's a picture there with my wife Linda at an arboretum. I didn't even know what an arboretum was. Looks like I have a visitor again. I'll carry on talking.
Just carry on talking. Don't worry.
But the top left-hand corner there is a fantastic picture of me and my wife. Well, I think it is anyway. Where we found a tree that was just beautiful, and the arboretum has got 1,000,001 different types of trees. I never knew there were so many tree types in my life, and again, that's another major benefit of getting out and walking in nature, which I do on a regular basis. Even before the DVT, I'd done yoga and Pilates.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
I stopped doing that for probably 6-9 months, but I'm back doing it again now. Is it called Movement Through March? Is that the
Moving Through March? Exactly, moving through March.
Yeah, I think that yoga or Pilates is a great way of doing the moving through March. And I think today is about some form of stretchy pose, isn't it?
Yes, today is about stretching, exactly. And then yesterday, I don't know if you saw, we showed a video inside of Nourish that was about your fascia, which is basically all your interconnected tissues. It's neither muscle tissues nor skin. It's all that interconnection throughout your entire body, and just easing into stretching as opposed to forcing stretching. So if the stretch is too hard, pull it back, soften it, relax it.
So I tend to do yoga. Yoga for me is a more powerful. Well, some of the poses, I don't know which warrior pose that is, but it's one of the warrior poses. I always get confused which ones it is, but they can be quite require a little bit of power and strength involved in it. But I also do Pilates, and particularly if you have people inside Nourish who are new to it, then Pilates is a very good introduction, I think.
Absolutely, yes.
Full yoga, a little bit gentler, but still. I mean, the first time I did Pilates, I came back, I was a sportsman at that point in time. I was thinking, my thought was, what was that all about? And then the following day, I knew exactly what it was all about.
It didn't hurt on the day, did it?
Thighs, calves, stomach, everything was just burning. Some very, very small movements.
But it's a gentle burn.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if there are people watching this either live or afterwards, Pilates is a great way to get moving and get strength back into your body. And the picture on the right hand side actually is another picture that means quite a lot to me. It was probably about 3 weeks after my blood clot. My kids came back. So my son was in America at the time. My daughter was in Berlin. They all came back. We had a walk at Windsor Castle. And I haven't put the picture in there of me, but I look as pale. I look grey.
Exactly.
And I didn't put that in there because actually it looks a little bit awful. But this is a picture from like 2-3 weeks ago. Lovely sunny day. I look a lot more. I can see there's a lot more.
You actually look strong. Exactly.
Yeah. And for the international audience, that's where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were driven down after their wedding. It's called the Long.
Ah, that's right. Okay, so that's that driveway. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a lovely, lovely, lovely place to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, so my journey definitely was, I couldn't do anything for a period. It then took a long time for me to I then got going again, but I was still of a mindset where I didn't want to push things. I didn't want to go back playing sport. I didn't want to do things that so I have trouble when I lift my arm up. So I wouldn't do any activity that lifted my arm up because it still squeezes the vein. And my mindset is now completely flipped the other way. Where 2019 is definitely a year of what exercise can I do?
Right, and celebrating that, absolutely.
Can I just flip back to? I'm going to flip back to the first slide here.
Yes.
This is why I thank Andrea and Karen for Vision Journal. So this is the left hand. The picture here is in my Vision Journal.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
I was going to pick it up. Actually, it's right in front of me here.
Yeah.
It is in my Vision Journal. I've never had the creative spark in me. So you can see it's very logical, but it is, they are images, right? And it's good enough for me. And
you know, I mean, like I look at that being your Vision Journal going, that is it. You know, if you can play cricket, you have full shoulder movement.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so for me, I look at cricket and I'm like, well, that's full shoulder movement. If we're talking about aerobics or marathons or anything like that, that's full on exercise. You know, I look at I guess those aren't the White Cliffs of Dover, but somewhere on the south coast of England. And I'm like, well, that's out and about. That's totally, you know, I mean, my family's down in Sussex. So, you know, any one of those areas, you can walk for miles. Those trails are miles long, not just, you know, it's not just a pull into the drive and let's get out here. And obviously, like you say, coaching again, which is one of the things that, you know, I did want to talk about briefly today is that whole team sport and what it teaches you.
Yeah. Okay. Just before we go on to that, so can I just mention the top left-hand corner? Because I think for me, I think that there is real power in this. So, so I put that picture up there. I don't know whether you can read it or not. It says it's a medal. The picture is of a medal.
Half marathon. Yes.
And I've written the words half marathon in it. And when I stuck that in there, that was, as I'd like to say, that was an intent. It wasn't a goal. It's a bit looser than a goal. It was an intent.
Okay.
And what was behind that was just becoming more aerobic. And then 5 weeks ago now, maybe, my daughter speaks to my son and they say, we're going to be entering the Hackney Half Marathon, which is through the Olympic Park in London. And we're going to be entering the half marathon. And before I knew it, I'd entered it.
No. Oh, so you saw, so as opposed to, I'm thinking of becoming more active, you've literally signed up now for a half marathon.
Yeah, mid-May. I can't remember the exact date.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So, you know, I have no idea what this hokey stuff is about sticking stuff into vision journals. But, you know.
But there you go.
Exactly.
Right. Wow.
So cricket again is happening. I've made up my mind. I'm playing cricket. When the opportunity arises, I'm going to be coaching again, and you know, I'm going to continue walking again. I'm going to continue walking. Sorry, that was already.
Exactly. You're already doing that, and I assume you're already doing some running if you've signed up for a half marathon. So you are on your way on that journey.
Yep. So I did 2 miles 3 weekends ago. 3 miles 2 weekends ago, and I did 5.6.
Wow. Okay. Well, because I mean, half marathon, we're talking 13 miles, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So if you did 5.5 miles, you're talking what, 9 kilometers?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just under halfway. So
exactly. I mean, and I know for me, any kind of training I'm doing, I'm aiming for maximum doing 3/4 of that distance.
Yeah.
And regularly, and knowing that I'm only going to do that actual final distance, that one or two. Exactly. You're not actually going to train that whole distance all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I know I can do. I know I can do the distance. I've walked that far in a day. My Fitbit tells me, but the challenge is getting there in the time that they require you to do it in.
Absolutely, in order to say that you finished.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So then you asked. Sorry, so I had to just talk about that because I thought it was kind of important that we were on the page.
Absolutely, yes.
I think this is the last slide that I'd not.
And exactly. This is one of the things that I kind of wanted us to talk about. This whole, what team sport gives you.
I think team. Well, so the English Football Association created a new series of education courses, probably about 10 years ago now. They're called the FA Youth Awards. FA Youth Awards. Previously, all education was geared towards adults. Okay. And in the first FA Youth Award, which is called Youth Module 1, there is a video, and they basically asked the kids, they're probably about 8, 9, 10 years old, why do they come play football, play soccer? Yeah. And not one of them says to win. Not one of them says to win. Of course not. Yeah. They say to meet up with their friends, to get fit, to have fun, learn a new skill, get exercise. And I'm sure they say other good stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm coming because Timmy's coming,
Yeah. And suddenly, before they know it, they're becoming more disciplined because they're coming on a weekly basis, and maybe they're getting on the team, and that requires a certain level of commitment as well.
Right. Absolutely. And there's the commitment to doing something. I mean, like, at least for me, I wasn't training every day at school. I had to do, there's some things I had to do on my own at home. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, I don't know whether yes, it will. Yeah. So I think this video here, we're going to have to see if this works over Zoom. But what I really like about the video, so I'm actually holding the camera here.
Okay.
The guy on the right on his knees was my goalkeeper probably about 6 seasons ago now. And the guy who's going to be doing the work is the goalkeeper.
Oh, okay.
So I coached the guy on his knees, but that guy's coming back to give back to our team. So somewhere he's got, and when he first turned up, I'm sure it wouldn't be telling tales out of school. There was a few rough edges around the outside of this young man, and suddenly here he is, giving back to another goalkeeper, which I just think is fantastic. Let's see. And the goalkeeper here is working.
Exactly. Okay, so he's doing, exactly.
Highly focused young man. This is after our training session. The two keepers are there just working together. We're working on his fast feet. We're working on his thigh strength so that he can move across the goal and dive using his big thigh muscles. And you probably may not have noticed it in there, but he was absolutely, I was going to say a word beginning with a K then. He was exhausted. He was worn out, yes.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
And that's the motivation from that young man. Driving him on, and that's one of the things that drives me. When you see a young man, the guy there's probably 17, I think, doing that sort of thing. He could be out doing loads of other stuff, but he's there doing driving himself on, which is great. The picture down the bottom left-hand corner is a picture that I love. That's when I do my best work. You do stuff in the big kind of.
Well, exactly. You do the 15, 16 team members, but really you do it best when you're doing the individual or the 2 or 3 together.
The one-to-one, the one-to-one, 1-to-2 type activity. There, just talking to them. That's pre-game. Actually, in this type of scenario, not trying to fill their heads with too much. They're just about to go in the game.
is better. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So just, a couple of little reminders, a couple of cues, a couple of anchors, I think we'd say now.
Absolutely. Coaching, yeah.
Yeah, and you can see me there with one of my beanie hats on because I get a very cold head. Okay. And then the picture on the right-hand side is my son was out in the States, United States, for 5 years, coaching a whole range of different teams, and you can see there that his team was a girls' team.
Yep.
I think there might be U14, U15, I think, something like that in that picture. I'm actually running the session there, so my son's on the right-hand side of the picture.
Okay, right, yes, okay.
And you can see, which is why I say like father, like son, because somebody else took the picture, and you can see the family resemblance in just the
way you're both standing.
But I have a value which is called live my legacy.
Yeah.
Which you may have been the coach with me while we worked through kind of like values.
Yes.
And that's my value in that picture. That's that value. Live my legacy. So, I coached my son. My son is now a qualified coach. Blah blah blah. He's doing exactly what I was doing with young people.
And it's that creating that environment in which not only are they learning, but they're actually willing to get out there and give back again to the next generation of youth.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's I can't remember what your question was now, Beth, but that's
the question was the value of team sports. So yes, you totally answered that for me. Absolutely.
So actually, I'll answer it. And shut me up if I'm going over too long. But so when I was coaching in my final season before my health book, we had we were playing our last game of the season. We were playing against a team who were on paper better than us. We were playing away. We probably had, if we have a squad of 20, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them were unavailable through injury.
Wow. So you're down to literally your 11 on the field.
Actually, the goalkeeper in the left hand and the top left, he was our substitute. And even he had a bad leg, so he rocked up to be our substitute with a bad leg. So we were down to nothing. We scored in probably the 20th minute, something like that, and then we were, to use the expression, backs to the wall.
Yes, absolutely. And then you just turn the whole game defensive and you just, absolutely.
Yeah, it was like the Alamo. I don't know whether
I can remember we were tied. I mean, it was school football, not university yet. We were tied and we were 10 on the field, 1 injured that was off. And we've been able to hold the tie, but we were just at that stage of, if we don't win this, we're out.
Yeah.
And it was a corner, and literally we brought our goalkeeper up to take the corner. And it was one of those risky moves of, the only way we're actually going to get a point is if the goalkeeper comes up to take the corner and we get a shot in at goal. But if we mess this up, we've got no defense.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those plays that, it's like, okay, this is where we're at, and it's all in. We're all in.
Yeah. And did you score?
No, but we didn't get scored against either.
Right. Okay. Good. Yeah.
But it's and that's one of the things about the game. It teaches you to take risks.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you don't want to talk of life skills that playing a game teaches you. Sometimes you're taking very calculated risks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the game that I love has evolved in such a big way now, where even as recent as 10 years ago, the fullbacks who are like the wide defenders, that would be their job. They would be defenders. Now actually fullbacks, they're considered attackers.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's just it. I mean, like I know I played usually center midfield, but I would get to the end of the game and I was exhausted. You know, I was done. I had played defense. I played offense. You know, my job was move the ball.
Yeah, get it and give it. Get it and give it.
Get it, give it. Exactly. Yeah.
So my guys on that last game of the season, actually probably would have been one of the last games I took that I was involved in. They did two things. One is their discipline in how they played the game. You know, we train, we know what our defensive shape looks like.
Absolutely.
They kept that discipline, but their commitment to the cause and to each other was just outstanding. And we held on for the 1-0 victory. There was hugs all round. Me and Ken, my partner coach, you know, we just walked in like, that's why we do it. That was encompassed in one game. That was why we do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Stuart, for getting on here with me. This has been a total joy. I have been so enthralled in talking with you. I haven't actually been on Facebook looking at the comments, so I have no idea if anybody's asked us any questions or made any comments. And I will find out when we go back to Facebook. But thank you so much. This for me has been a real pleasure having you. And I can't wait to see in May your medal for having finished the half marathon.
Yeah, well, that's the intent. Well, no, it's not the intent. That's the goal.
No. I don't care how much of that marathon you have to walk at the end, but I can't wait to see you finishing it. You know,
thank you.
That is just simply fabulous. And to everybody that's watching, you know, celebrate what your body can do.
Yeah.
You know, respect that there's limitations. Know there's limitations. But if you have a knee injury, that's still no excuse for not doing weights on the upper arms. You know, there's things that you can still celebrate being able to do with your body. And at the same time, recognizing whatever that limitation is and just gentle and easy, but honoring our bodies and giving them movement. You know, we were not meant to be sedentary in desks and chairs.
Yeah.
We were, you know, our bodies need that movement and, you know, like Stuart says, Pilates, yoga, start easy, start gently, but give your body something that it can do. So thank you so much, Stuart. This has been a real pleasure, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. I enjoyed it as well, and I'm glad I fired up your memories of playing soccer as well.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.